present here with us today. We have reached the final day of the 3-day national webinar, the National Faculty Development Program on Teaching Competencies for Self-Directed Learning, conducted by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Mar Vesalius Institute of Technology and Science, Kodamangalam, in association with the Institution of Engineers, Kochi Local Chapter. Last 2 days, we were all part of an amazing talk by DrTPS sir, which equally motivated, inspired and mesmerized us. From learning how to be perfect mentor for us on the first day, to learning how professionalism should be reflected in each and every one of us on the second day, we had an amazing time listening to him. And we all were equally excited for today. The role of most leaders today is to get people to think more of the leader, but the role of an exceptional leader is to get people to think more of themselves. On that note, I invite our respected keynote speaker, Dr. DrTPS sir, for his talk on skills of developing design thinking leaders. He is an author, space scientist, educationalist, spiritual director, and a motivational speaker. He was the former Deputy Director, Directorate General of Security, Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India, and also a former ISRO scientist. As mentioned by him last day, he enjoys whatever he does, and that for sure is reflected in his talks. Over to you, sir.
Namaskaram. Thank you, Bhavana. You defined leadership. Now I will have to speak around that. Can you repeat that again, Bhavana?
Yes, sir. The role of most leaders today is to get people to think more of the leader, but the role of an exceptional leader is to make people think of themselves.
Yeah, I think I never thought this when I gave the title. Good, thank you. Thank you, Professor Bonia, for the good narrative. All enjoy. Thank you, and glad that Professor Sojan is back today. When we were discussing on the title, Mentoring Mentors for Higher Education, was what we ended up. But soon after that, I thought probably Teaching Competencies for Self-Directed Learning is a better title. But then the first title became the first day's discussion. Second, Navigating Educators on Professional, because we are talking to professional institutions or the teachers who love to be mentors as part of professional institution. Design thinking and developing leaders, these are two topics very close to my heart. So I just gave the title without thinking much. To be very frank, that's what happened. But then the other day, I got one, I think it was in the chat, somebody from Dimapur. Dominic is around. He was the one who gave from Dimapur. Dimapur is in Assam. My brother-in-law was health inspector in railways in Dimapur. Therefore, my niece took birth there, is called Dimu. The name of the land is given as the name of my niece. He was a great leader because most of the railway station did not had South Indian tea stall. They had only tea stall, but they served the North Indian dishes. So my brother-in-law initiated South Indian tea stall all across from Bengal to the northeast north frontier railways. I was enjoying when I used to go there. So sometime somebody starts, it can be a small difference in some small activity which you do. It will have a large implication. Maybe it will come later, but the first one who does it is called a leader. So you have to lead yourself. Another two people, yesterday also I mentioned, but I did not get a WhatsApp. I think people are too skeptic about sharing their phone numbers. There was a message by Archana S. Nair on the chat. There was another Archana Acharya who gave an email. So yesterday I was calling Archana without mentioning who is that. And I requested to give a WhatsApp, but they didn't. Yeah, no problem. I kept on saying communication is what makes you good. If you don't communicate, any sort of contacts is useless. I still have contact with those who studied with me in 10th class, 12th class, graduation, MSc, PhD, all. More than that, my teachers are in contact. That is because you keep them, That's why I keep mentioning those teachers who took initiative of teaching me. Day for yesterday, I think I mentioned Einstein, who was a driver, and a joke, but I didn't complete. So somebody asked me on WhatsApp. I said I'll tell you today, because there may be few people who have that to ask, or they may ignore it, but they don't have the habit of asking questions, so they take it for granted. He let him say what he wants. How does it matter to me? That's what happens in education. It should not happen. Anything which you do it serious. If you know it, it's good. Oh, there is a text which says that story was impressive. Or somebody else says, I couldn't get the story. Or somebody says, oh, you didn't mention the story. Or somebody else says, you mentioned it half and left it, because I keep on skipping. My script is not what is written. I am just on the flow. So sometimes I miss the break, and then maybe overshoot with high speed accelerator. So it happens. So I missed it actually. Thinking that many people know. But if somebody doesn't know, if one person gets benefit, that's my credit. Einstein picture was not as famous as we have today. We know Einstein when we say that the curly hair and that the look is fantastic. But nobody knew him by picture during his time. And many people think that relativity theory is what made Einstein famous, but it is not so. It is spectrography and spectrometer which made Sir C.V. Raman also to learn. So there some jokes will make you to remember things very perfect. So he was giving a lot of lectures on the spectral signatures of light and etc. And his driver knew this by heart. I don't know whether he had a driver, whether it's a story or it's only for fun. Probably most of the Westerners don't keep a driver even they become the director of a center. They drive themselves because they believe in holding themselves equal to any status. So drivers are only for taxis, but not for private drivers are very, very, very less. But it's a story which says Einstein told the driver, because driver keep on telling, up to that I told the other day, keep on telling that I can also speak like you because I heard your lecture many more times or many times and it's all by heart to me. The full stop, comma, everything is by heart. You will see some people who are in the spiritual world, they keep on speaking with the same style as their masters are because there is no creativity in them. They are only duplicates, the copy machines. So same thing happened. Driver told I can do the same thing as you are doing it. So Einstein had a fun. He said, today you be my boss and I will become your driver. So Einstein started driving the car and the driver was sitting behind. They reached the venue. As usual, he was invited to the podium to speak. Einstein gave a wonderful lecture without any comma, full stop mistakes. Because that's natural because he heard that lecture many times, right? But the end, the questions came. The questions were entirely different, not the same question in every place. So immediately a tough question came. The driver who is acting as Einstein have no idea about this. But immediately he said, this is a very simple question. My driver also can answer this. So most of the questions are answered like this because everything is very simple. My driver can answer. So sometimes what is exactly required in life is a great presence of mind. Probably when you are with a great person, you acquire it very fast. Einstein's driver had that acquaintance with Einstein, so he also had a presence of mind. So what makes people active is, or a leader is, or a mentor is the presence of mind. What you have to tell today, you must be able to tell today. If it gets delayed, or sometime, I also skip something to see whether you are really interested, will you come back. Yesterday I was mentioning about 5S: sort, order, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. The 5S principles in management. And few people asked me, you mentioned this and some lecture in education how 5S can be used. Probably the same way what we are doing today. The design thinking in leadership, I gave a title like that because I come from management background. I thought, why not standardization in academics, education, to be more productive, set everything in perfect order so that you know how management works in academics. But then I got few messages asking, where was that lecture given? So what I do is, I posted to them, I guess, I don't remember. I think I posted to them the videos. If I did not do, that's there in the chat box. Just now I am posting those lectures. Both are in Gulf. When I was talking to teachers, I was telling them 5S, but I added Kaizen. The word is Kaizen. So you look at Kaizen management principles or 5S, you will land up there with the DrTPS. One is in Doha. I think one is in Doha and one is in Muscat. So 2 places I gave seminars. That was in 2015, 2018. 2018 is when I gave that. So I just posted to those. So today we thought we will discuss on developing design thinking for leaders. Again, there was a message from Nisha. Nisha is around. Ilahia, Nisha is around. Ilahia, I had a 2-3 days workshop. That was for admissions for BCA, BBA students, and the topic given was design thinking. And we did a workshop, and that workshop attracted a lot of students who are aspiring to join graduation, and they all had 3 days of fun in Ilahia. That was in 2015 December. So the next year admission, many of them joined in that college. The 3 days was like an advertisement program, but with a technical content. And that was the design thinking workshop. That was in Muvatupura. That was on design thinking. Only design thinking, and then see how you can change your life in design thinking. So just now Bhavana was telling the leadership matters for people. Yes, for committed people who wanted to work. Willingness to do hard work. Take that initiative. Make life meaningful to derive. For what? Perform something beyond the normal with a very structured way probably. And that is what is design thinking. Design is a beautiful structure. I learned traditional Vastu. We have Vastu textbook in which says, if you have a door, whether the hatch is to be kept horizontal or vertical. There is a tendency, if you have got a vertical handle, you tend to pull it because the hand always pulls. The vertical handle, You hold it and you pull it. But if it is horizontal, the normal tendency is to push it. But I don't know how many people who makes doors realize it. And many times what happens is, when you wanted to enter, instead of pulling, if you push it, and the glass door is so transparent, there is all chance of you go and hit. And immediate response of any human being is to look behind and then see whether somebody has seen it or not. I keep telling, if you go to a washroom and you want to flush it by mistake, you don't know where the button is and you do some mistake, immediately again you will look back to see whether somebody has seen it or not. Because that's a human tendency. There is a great psychology behind it. Assume that you are driving a scooter and then you met with an accident. Immediately you are responsive to see whether somebody has seen it or not. You don't even care how much injury you had. That is because we are more worried about how society thinks on us. What is that? That is a societal thinking inbuilt in every human being. So we are socially responsive. That's how we have been. The upbringing itself, it is there. Hey, don't do this. Because in front of somebody else you may do it. Right? So that consciousness is what makes you more responsible to see what you do has got a responsibility to reflect for the society. That sort of a handle which you keep for the door where you don't make mistakes. Not everybody makes mistakes, but not even single person should make mistakes. And that's how it has to be designed. That is what design thinking. How perfectly you can do something so that nobody comes across that incident, that activity, that use. Anyway, anything what you do is for somebody else, not for you alone. There is a public cause, then you have a better recognition. So how it can reflect on every action which you do, that makes you a design thinker in leadership. Because you are doing something for the society, and in which you are showing your professional ability and the skill, and you are a unique person because that comes from you. Generally, I keep an example, one of the best example, where the old computer, when you want to insert, we had 9.5 inch floppy. That was called floppy because you can flop it. You can tilt it, that's why it's called a floppy. But even when it became so rigid, we kept on calling it as floppy. Because literary meaning doesn't matter sometimes for technical references. Or even in the quotation when it comes to philosophy. So, assume that you have got a floppy. Later it came with a 5/4, yeah. Instead of 9 inch, it became a 5/4 or so, I think. All the floppies, inside that there is a magnetic disk which is what is storing the data. And there is a basic mathematics, a circle can be encompassed by a square. But if you make a floppy drive a square, perfect square, generally earlier the hard disk was bottom, and then you don't even see how it is to be inserted. You just have to put your hand down and then insert it down. So assume that you have got a square floppy. When you insert it, you could insert like this, you could insert like this, you could insert like this, you could insert like this. So 8 ways of inserting a floppy. And only one way it will work, but the rest of the ways, because there is a reader there. The 7 mistakes out of 8 possibilities. That's a very bad system. Unless you are very careful, you can make mistakes. Even today, when somebody puts their USB, many people make mistakes because they have not made it into their brain. The designer had a big brain. So what this did is, the hollow part is always on the top to the male. So female has to go in this direction. The hollow part has to be on the up. That's it. But if you did not notice it, if you don't know this, what will happen? You will try to insert it. No, it's not working. So you will reinsert it. By the time the jaw and the pins will go bad. So if you don't know how to use it, it's a mistake. But if you can design it without a mistake, you are a good designer. So how do this floppy problem of making 7 mistakes out of 8 was solved? The designer, what he did was, though the magnetic tape was round and it can be encompassed in square, the designer just changed it by making a rectangle. Suppose you make it a rectangle, you are reducing the number of mistakes 4. That means only 3 mistakes can happen because 1 is the right one. So 3 out of 8 mistakes. See how fast a small change in design. And he did not stop there. What he did, at the end of one corner he gave a cut for no use, because if it was no cut was not there, you can insert in other 3 ways. But once it is cut, only one way. I have not seen such a perfection. I have not seen this referred by anybody else in anywhere. This is a beautiful design. So anyone who designs beautiful, I'll tell you, that design will stay for longer. So who is a leader? Whatever change he makes stays for longer, he is a leader. So that's why a leader has to be a man with a lot of design thinking. If you don't do that, you are not beyond ordinary. So they make, as a mentor program, I am talking to teachers, not company people who produce us products. Our products are probably the best students who come out of those institutions, or maybe outside in the society where we influence them, we make small changes, and that small change makes the best out of that individual. Probably you don't know you are making difference, you are making change, but yeah, there is a trigger, there is a small spark which you have given that will make them to a great fire. And that to individuals. Yeah, probably if you are a great leader, you are a great academician, you could do it in an organization where you are heading that tomorrow. Maybe to start with to a student, maybe to start with many institutions. I speak to many institutions. I ran a lot of programs, lot of academic, my own trials on students, and that made a lot of difference to a bunch of children. As soon as I left my department of space, I'll make it a short story, but though it's a big project, if you are interested, look at the program called ICON, ICON. ICON means look at through the iconic view. DrTPS ICON will tell you my first project on education. What I did was, I had a summer program in which I gave a talk to 400 children in one of the remotest villages in Kerala. Probably the most uneducated students, the worst school in Kerala, where the result was almost nil pass for many years, was in Palakkad, Kedakkancheri, Vadakkancheri Panchayat. There is only one government school there. There are only 2-3 convent schools because many people don't pass 10th. So the scope for school, and there is only one MHRD college in that whole area. It is close to Alathur. One of the richest man from India who settled in Muscat is from that place. After when I spoke to a summer program to nearly 400 children sponsored by him, almost a month program to improve the education system there, the summer program was introduced. After the talk, he called me. He was almost 67 that time. I was 42 or 43. 46, almost 10 years back. It was in 2010. So what happened was, he called me and then said, I am slightly older than you, and I am slightly richer than you, and I am slightly busier than you. He presumed that I am not rich, I am not that busy, therefore I request you to come and meet me. It was my sponsored program on which you gave a lecture, but then I want to meet you, and I am so tight in my schedules, I don't have time to meet you. To come and meet you in your place. I was in Iringalakuda and he was in Palakkad, Alathur. But then I got a information about him, who is that. Therefore I thought that I told him with a lot of respect, yes, it's my fortune that I could speak to you, or you spoke to me. I want to meet you. I'll tell you, he don't use the phone number where you can identify him, because it comes with an unknown entity, because nobody could trace his number. He flies in his own flight. If you see Sial airport, the first, as you enter out from the terminal, the first parking place is his, and that's called Shobha Developers. And he was the owner of Shobha Developers. And those days in Thrissur, one apartment was costing 2.5 crores, because there is a drinking water pond which he created, which is purest of the purest. He's a man of leadership and design. That's why I'm mentioning him. A great leader, a great designer. And I was fortunate to be with him on a call, asking me to meet him. I went to Palakkad. On the way while driving, he said, don't come to Palakkad, I am there in Thrissur only. And we met him in his house. So we had the breakfast meeting started at 7:15. He said 1 hour meeting. 8:30 he got a call from his personal assistant. He said, call me after 2 hours. 10:30 he got a call. He said, call me after lunch. And after lunch he got a call. He said, maybe night I can speak. Therefore, our discussion ended up in 13 hours. I'll tell you, that's what is. He is a too busy man, but he had spent 13 hours with me on the first meeting. And we ended up in designing a great program that's called Icon program. He was running a small school called Shobha Academy, where nursery to 4th class was running with 400 children. On lottery, they will select students, 45 students per year from the village, where free education is given and kit is given to their homes because their homes are very, very poor.
The extension box I need, sir, that's my
Yeah, I don't have.
small extension box. It is that's
I don't have. Yeah. So what happened was, I had that project given to him. The project was, give me 8th class children, because I was telling him, if you have 4th class children, it takes another 8 years to realize your dream. For the government to decide whether children have reached their dream or not, 12th class standard is what is essentially required, because schooling ends on 12th. But you give me 8th class children, in 4 years I will show them as the great. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 days, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th class, I used to teach all the subjects. He had a big marriage hall. Community marriage used to happen there. The neighboring school, 300 children every day. Monday, 8th class, Tuesday. So I told him 8th class is good enough. I can start. And all the parents and teachers kept telling that none of my children will pass 10th class. In Kerala, now most of the children will pass with a say exam or without exam, because everybody gets pass mark. That was not the situation during our time, and then it was getting liberal and more liberal. Therefore, quality of education, higher education, everything has come down because of the all pass system which we had. But these children, both parents and teachers will tell they are not good, they are not going to be anywhere in the world. But then I told them, we have to make a difference. They are all from Malayalam medium. I converted them to English medium. So every parents and teachers started telling they will fail in Malayalam medium, and then you want to convert them to English medium. What will happen? I said, what will happen? They will fail anyway. Otherwise also they are failing. But they will pass ultimately. So how does it matter whether they just pass with the Malayalam medium? Instead of that, failing in an English medium is more credential, right? I made this fun, but I converted all of them. I want to teach them English, but not in classrooms. What I did was, there is a rich man, PNC Menon. There is a man with idea, DrTPS. We blended very well together. He said, you do anything you want, money is with you. So that's the right time. I took all my children to Goa. Goa is the place where people can learn English very fast, because all the foreigners from different countries will be there. You can learn geography, you can learn history, you can learn culture, everything can be learned. I wrote in Malayalam and gave them, what is your name, what you should ask, how to communicate was told to them. No hesitation, you go and talk to anybody. Children were really hesitated because they are from a small village, and from that village they are going to a place like Goa, where most of the people are only with algebra and geometry bottom. Only a triangle in the bottom with 5 centimeter, maximum 7 centimeter on the top. That's it. Most of them are topless also. And our children were not able to look at them because that's not a practice. But I told them, don't hesitate. Look wherever you want. This is the right time to enjoy everything in this world. And go and ask them, what's your name? Where are you coming from? Why are you here? Ask a lot of things. All that questions were written in Malayalam. And then they asked somebody, where are you from? They said, Zaporizhia. Why? What is it? Tell me again. They said, Elizabeth, spelling please, because they have to write. Evening they have to give a report to me. What did they learn? And 90 children, 45 girls, 45 boys on the seashore for a full day. You know how much knowledge they gain? Evening everything had to be shared, because I may ask anybody anything from anywhere, whatever those children learned individually. Everything has to be shared. And I used to record everything with my camera, and we were doing it in the Navodaya Vidyalaya. There is a big wall, a 50 feet by 50 feet wall. I use a projector, high luminance projector, and the whole community of Navodaya Vidyalaya, because that's a residential school, children, teachers, their family members, everybody was there, and our team members were there, and there were students from Himachal Pradesh. Navodaya has got a tuning program in the 9th class. Everybody was looking at what's happening to these children. I'll tell you, 37 of them got A+ in all subjects in 10th class and 12th class, and nearly 60 people took post-graduation, and still few of them are in contact with me. There are people who reached abroad for great universities with full fellowship. Wipro runs a program with fellowship for graduation. 6 of them are there. They completed their projects and they are teachers today. Many, including Thrissur Engineering College, MTech completed in chemical technology. My students are marvelous. I'll tell you, if somebody is becoming good, it's not the institution, it is not the background, it is just that break which you can make in their life. That spark which you can give in their life can make a difference. And that was one of my experiment. I proved that your background doesn't matter. Exemplary differences can be made, provided you have a model which you want to create. That's what design thinking does. What is that you can do to continue with that experiment is to test whether it is working. That's another step in design thinking. You learn design thinking, you will see these are the steps. Inspire and shape them with a vision. And you challenge yourself the process what is happening. That's what we do during education. I told you, discovery style of learning is we challenge ourselves whether they are able to understand or not. Every project is like that. Every product design is also like that. So education also does. Mentoring also does. It's not that we know the solution for most of the problems. We test it. We do first cut. We do a sample and then make it better and better. That's what is design thinking does. And enable the other person to act. That's also essential. That enabling a cooperative job. Oh, I will ask somebody else. I will ask suggestions. That's what I want when I am talking. It's not, understand, DrTPS is not copying from what is written in some book. It's my idea. I am posting it. I am thankful to Sojan for giving this opportunity for me to talk like this. Because many people, when they ask, sir, where is your PowerPoint? Oh, PowerPoint is not there. I keep saying, if Dr. Sojan would have asked me, I would have told, no, I don't have PowerPoints. I have only powerful points. And that comes on the fly. Only when somebody smiles, but not with only names on the screen. That's anyway. And people love to do that because they want to hide behind and say that attendance is there. Ultimately, there is a certificate given based on how much time you have logged in, not how much knowledge you got in, right?
Can we ask our audience to...
I told, but they are reluctant because they feel themselves so inferior. Their father is not beautiful, handsome, and mother is not at all beautiful. Their shape is not good. They just woke up from the bed. They did not had bath. A lot of problems could be there, right?
So requesting maximum audience to put on your videos on, at least on this virtual environment, so that it will be more like...
Yeah, that's only what I said.
The expressions also, being a teacher also, I understand how
yeah.
should be reflected.
Yeah, but I became used to this because I kept being tired. I'll tell you how many times I asked to send a WhatsApp.
Yesterday, 1 second, sir. Yesterday I was taking an online class and I was telling my students, this is Akhtar Banu from Karnool, sir.
Yeah. But Akhtar herself was not switching on until now. Dr. Sojan said, because I don't know, he decides only when the picture is there, certificate is issued.
No, sir, I also always enjoy, and I also tell my many meetings to put on these videos on so that
I'll tell you
that
it's a
expression makes a lot of
difference.
I request once again all the participants to put your videos on.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have got one of my guru in the yeah.
One such
Yeah.
one impression yesterday in my online class. I was asking my students to smile through the phone. So they were telling, yes, ma'am. When we attend your class, we smile because you keep smiling.
See, I'll tell you, if this is not a teacher's class, if it is a management program, when we make a beautiful story or something, you know what happens? There are a lot of heart comes because in your phone you have got a heart which you can put.
Yes,
They'll say,
sir.
yeah, we liked it. But I don't expect that from teachers because the teachers are the most unreactive people because they are always like this. Understood?
No,
I do a lot of corporate programs. I do a lot of insurance company programs. They market things. Immediately the response will come. But here,
Good listeners, sir.
yeah?
You are good listeners.
Yeah, but reflection. I'll tell you, I
Yeah,
reflect.
reflection is very important. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See,
The point is-
in
we have to.
my book on adaptive learning talk about different styles of teaching. Deductive, inductive, apprentice. Apprentice, you don't require any reflection. But I am a discovery teacher. If the discovery teacher doesn't get a thump, you think that, oh, this idea is not working.
No, sir. We are
Understood.
very much enjoying this session.
This is must. That's what I'm saying. See, sometimes leadership is not your creativity. This is what just now shown. I kept on requesting, nothing happened. But Dr. Sojan said immediately reaction that leadership is power. Leadership is richness. Leadership is money. Amitabh Bachchan says everybody will raise their hand. Understood? So there is an EQ content. See, I tell you like Dr. Jayanti and all is attending many of my programs. I was not influential for her to make her video on. But immediately now Sojan said, yeah, up because she is worried. Certificate is not there. See, sometimes the author's speaker's name is written slow, but bottom it is written. Certificates will be issued. It's like generally we have Saptaham of Bhagavad Gita and all that lecture. They will say food is supplied. Then everybody will go. But then somebody says, the husband says the wife, you go and attend. Just before the lunch, you give me a WhatsApp or a SMS, I will come and attend. No. So it's like that. So must be very careful. So what is required is, you should get that feel from the people. Therefore, the leadership comes out. Because they can't inspire themselves. They inspire themselves from the trust what the listeners give as a teacher. As a producer, what is that? The product becomes better and better when the buyer gives a trust to the product. Suppose I have one product which is very good, which I made, good enough. That's a trust which I have. Oh, I am able to do it. That's why I propagate icon. I had that. So now I know. Now I don't have even to take a stock of what happened, who made it, nothing. Because it's there. Some impression is there that I know. So the feeling of the people is very, very important. Maybe leaders take that initiative for triggering. Sometimes trigger doesn't work. That's what I said. You need to have a power. You need to have money. See, we are talking about a subject. Immediately that happens, so I am using it. And when somebody does it, if nobody does it, at least when people join, there are 5 people doing, the 6th one who joins automatically will open. Suppose 5 people were not opening the video, the 6th fellow joins will never open it. I'll tell you this, I used in small KG classes. You have seen most of the KG students, the teachers will keep on shouting, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. So when I talk to the KG teachers, I will tell them, you don't shout asking to keep quiet, because what you are doing is what they are seeing. I said, sir, how do you make them keep quiet then? I said, you don't speak, you do like this. Shh. Then they said, it's very easy to tell this, sir, but see in the class what will happen. So that school where I talked the first time, 350 kg children, nursery, LKG, UKG, all of them were put in one single hall. I made all of them to keep quiet for 6 hours. It's very simple, I'll tell you. The first student keeps quiet. As the second student enter, you will see last 2 years back I was doing a workshop in Columbus. You will see children coming and sleeping the head down like this on the floor because there is a very specific place kept. The people enter, I will not speak, I'll say, show the place and do like this, they will sleep there. Until I say get up, they will be there. So I'll tell you, it's very easy. You have to show them but not to speak to them. So leaders are not who speaks, leaders are who show them. When I enter, I open, not only when my lecture is there, my video is on. I will say Namaskaram, Namaste. But then 3 people, know what happens sometime? I am entering first time, the second fellow enters, they see only me, immediately they will drop out. I don't want to see this fellow, don't want to talk to them. If I would have been there, what I do is I will talk to them, get to know them. So this is the time for interaction. You can have informal discussions. People don't know. That is what I said, the communication should be taught. So who will teach that? The leaders. So when you go to the class, as soon as you enter, don't start the class. And then somebody comes late, you don't scold them. See, you can see in all the 2 days what I did was, I started some informal discussions, some time pass sort of a thing which was recapping what happened yesterday. It's actually waiting because there was only 60 people when I started at 10 o'clock, 49. But now 139. So if I start very serious, many people will lose. So what I do, I will make some time pass, recapturing, maybe referring to somebody else. You don't have to be very timekeeping person. Many people are conscious, syllabus completion, timekeeping, these are all doesn't matter. What is required is what do you give, that stuff has to be some content which makes some difference in at least a few of them. They understand, oh, and if you have a casual discussion, they also know that we can have casual discussion. I'll tell you, most of the time, the invited speakers are called in the academic institution or in a company, so that soon after that, the class is over, somebody will come and talk to you and that person gets an extra benefit. So who takes that extra mileage is always beneficial. The trigger is what you give, but if you don't discuss with them later, then you are not going to have any attachment. Yesterday also I told, unless you switch on the video, unless you send a message and talk to me, you don't send a WhatsApp to me and have a communication, I don't even remember you. So, meeting humans with a need which satisfy your desire, and especially in the technological field when we have this ability to communicate to anyone in the world, that is technologically feasible. I use the word because I am remembering those technological feasible word which is quite used in design thinking. So what is design thinking? What you do it in a strategic way using technology to design the product well is called a design thinking. So the communication which I am talking to you now, use the technology, send WhatsApp, come into video, talk to them, because once upon a time it was not possible. Only radio was there. AMS radio was one of the place where people could communicate, but they were not able to see. When we are able to see multimedia, we don't use it. Actually, we are becoming handicap ourselves. We are not using the whole possibility. So this is a forum where you need to have that possibility.